Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. We've already got combat underway due to Vanguard shenanigans here in this online battle. I've got my Chaos up against the Greenskins. For those of you who watched my Rush build video the other day, this is exactly the list that I had theory crafted, so apologies about the lighting. First of all, this map is horrible in terms of the lighting, just absolutely appalling. Creative Assembly really needs to address, like, this entire forest here, you really can't see anything that's going on. Like, I've got these Chaos Knights with lances here, and I mean, on my screen I can barely see like their hooves and some patches of light and stuff, but on YouTube, for you guys, I can only imagine it's got to be really hard to see what's going on. So Creative Assembly, please turn on the lights. I mean, I know Nagaron's supposed to be dark, but come on. Anyway, build is Big Bird with just Final Transmutation and Stand Your Ground. We also took the Scroll of Leeching just because I had the extra points, and of course Arcane Conduit. Summoners of Rage, 2 units of Chaos Knights, a main line of 4 Chaos Marauders with 2 Shielded Chosen. And then we've got the 2 Marauder Horsemen who are on top of all these goblins here. We've got a whole mess of goblins, 3 units of Night Goblin Archers with, of course, the Rusty Arrows, 2 Skulkers, 3 units of Night Goblins with the 2 Regiments of Renown, of course, Wurzag. We've got some more Orc Boys and some Savage Orc Biggins. And in the forest here, we've also got 3 units of Wolf Riders. So right off the bat, we're going to get the combat underway, of course. My horsemen who had been fighting are going to decide that, you know what, this probably isn't the best. Let's go ahead and just pull away here. Meanwhile, Big Bird jumping straight into the goblins. Of course, Big Bird has nothing to fear from puny little goblins. And since I started with a ton of Winds of Magic, just so happened that in this match we both started with a ton of Winds of Magic, I'm already going to drop that Overcast Final Transmutation on Wurzag to start doing damage to him. You can see Chaos Knights came in for a great charge on some Skulkers and did the same here. Unfortunately, my opponent's slightly off on the Smoke Bomb, not quite in time to catch either unit with that. Actually, it does look like maybe he caught that unit. Nope, that's just the poison. But anyway, Marauder's going to pull back, maneuver up and around. Meanwhile, the melee engagement is getting underway here. You can see the Chosen and these Marauders going to cut through goblins quite easily. Even Savage Orc Biggins will struggle against the Chosen. I mean, obviously, the Marauders won't trade the best against them. They'll definitely cut through the Marauders, no problem. But already routing off some Skulkers. And this is what I was talking about in terms of the shock rush for Chaos. More so than an infantry grind, you need to go for more of a shock type rush. And these Chaos Knights with Lances are an excellent shock unit. Likewise, these Summoners of Rage also getting in here, fighting right alongside Big Bird. The Savage Orc Biggins will do quite a bit of damage to them because of their relatively low armor, but looks like Wah and here we go, being popped in this pocket. Sarthrel's going to pull back. He has taken a little bit more damage than I'm comfortable with. Chaos Knights with Lances also getting a little bit bogged down on the far side, but this other unit is just in a dominant position to collapse this flank here. You can see these Orc Boys really suffering under that charge of these Chaos Knights here. And Wurzag himself in a relatively dangerous situation. He did just club down one of those Chaos Knights there, but Big Bird's going to try and come up and around the infantry formation and get on top of Wurzag himself. Big Bird's got pretty good combat stats, and here comes the Chain Lightning also from the Summoners of Rage. A little bit hard to see. There it is. Going to cut through those infantry, do some decent damage, and then kind of go off where I don't exactly need it to, but hopefully some of those guys will run through it. Nope, looks like it didn't actually do that much past the initial burst there, but Wurzag takes a ton of damage from Big Bird here. He's just pinned in with the Chaos Knights, and thankfully Big Bird's magic kind of gives him like a torch effect on this really dark map, but yeah. Big Bird doing a great job at just shutting things down here. Wurzag is going to be routed off, and you can see the balance of power has crept in my favor with that engagement finally decisively, although, you know, it's definitely not over yet. There's a lot of rallying troops here in the woods. We've got Skulkers, Night Goblins, Orc Boys, and more potentially going to be rallying. So now we're going to get into a little bit of a mobility phase where these Marauder Horsemen, Chaos Knights, and other units are trying to chase off. The Chosen are going to form up into a pocket here with these Night Goblins fighting them. And let's just watch these Chosen as they turn around and just start beheading these poor little Night Goblins here who don't have the AP values to match up against Chosen, unfortunately. Meanwhile, over here, a very nice Fanatics cast from my opponent, kind of staggering those Marauder Horsemen. Actually, just about allowed Wurzag to get away there, so very nice cast of the Fanatics, using them to kind of stagger those Horsemen there. Meanwhile, they are going to be still pushing forward, though. Wurzag, unfortunately, not quite sprung loose, but more of these Wolf Riders are coming back, and if they can get back and spring Wurzag loose, he can potentially come back here, although Chaos Knights now charging through the forest, just crushing those nasty Skulkers, and then turning around, and I'm not sure exactly who their next target is going to be. Maybe just pulling away there. Looks like potentially going after the Savage Orc Biggins there. Meanwhile, over on this side, the Summoners of Rage forming up in a defensive position with these Chosen with shields on the hill here. These Chosen also going to see off some Orc boys here and then come back to fight those Savage Orc Biggins there. So yeah, these two forming up on this hill, just kind of making their last stand as the mobility phase develops a little bit more. The Wolf Riders did come back and rout off my Marauder Horseman, unfortunately. The other Marauder Horseman is finishing off the Rusty Airs there, so that's very beneficial. But Sarthrael did get hit by the effigy to get there and pinned, so unfortunately he wasn't able to catch Wurzag, but he is going to get a move on, try and catch him. Meanwhile, this unit of Chaos Knights with Lances is kind of just ping-ponging around all these regrouped units in the back line. Because they're all relatively low armor, they're all very low armor in fact, with 0 for the Savage Orcs and only 15 for the Night Goblins. They're all going to take a lot of damage from these Chaos Knights with Lances on the charge, so as long as I keep them moving and don't let them get bogged down, we should be able to pretty much solo these 4 very tattered units. Meanwhile, Chosen still fighting here on the hill, making their final stand. The Savage Orc Biggins and the Skulkers just kind of washing up against the 60 melee defense of these Chosen, and that's the reason why I bring them mostly, is so that they can hold out in a situation like this. Meanwhile, the Summoners of Rage do catch a few of the Wolf Riders there on the far side, and they're going to get routed off, unfortunately. Big Bird's going to start to make it back towards the hill, and kind of both of us are coalescing all our forces back towards where these Chosen are making their stand here. So we'll fast forward a tiny bit through this late game engagement as more of the forces unify here. You can see Wurzag casting some spells here. Unfortunately, these other Chosen did get out of that pocket, or fortunately for me, so that those Orc boys didn't get that buff. But Wurzag barely holding together his leadership here, and the Chosen gonna pretty much finish off these Savage Orc Biggins. Granted, there are quite a few units coming in. Wurzag gets a nice rear charge. The Savage Orcs are going to try and go after Sarthrael, but he just has so much mass that he's going to be able to push through and get right in on Sarthrael, or sorry, on Wurzag. Nice rear charge and only 1 or 2 attacks. Should be enough to finish things off. A very nice cast of Fanatics from my opponent. Actually does quite a bit of damage to the Chosen, quite a bit of friendly fire as well, and with the last Terror rout, that will be the end of the Greenskins. So well played to my opponent. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that one. Pretty strong build for my opponent, lacking a little bit in AP for facing off against Chaos, and that Vanguard was very risky, but definitely showed off, or let me show off rather, the value of what I was talking about in the previous video where we had Greenskins versus Chaos, in that you really need to go with more of a shock strategy with Chaos. You know, you have the Chaos Knights with Lances, various other monsters. You don't even need to necessarily have to go with this exact build, but, you know, double Shaggoth is a viable shock tactic sometimes. Big Bird I like because of the missile resistance. He was also able to rack up 118 kills. He's great against low armor targets, and that final transmutation, of course, very good against the Greenskins in general. 121 kills on the Summoners of Rage at the end of the day. They're absolute MVPs in this matchup, as long as they don't get shot up too much. And then, of course, the Chaos Knights, 192 and 207, both of them just cleaning up hordes of goblins. The Chosen also, 175, 104, doing quite well. Of course, the Marauders are there, mostly just to fill out numbers and to give us some extra mobility for the Horsemen, and a little bit of armor piercing as well. But it definitely ended up working out that the shock units were able to take care of the low armor Greenskins. For my opponent, 2 units of the Savage Orc Biggins racked up XP chevrons. Definitely like that pick in this matchup. Orc boys, not so much. I would actually probably cut all of these Orc boys for Skulkers instead, because the AP is just so much better against Chaos. Skulkers also offer you more utility in that they have the smoke bomb, so you can slow units down substantially. So yeah, I would definitely just cut all the Orc boys for Skulkers. You know, you might have to find a little bit of cost here or there, but you could always cut one of those Wolf Riders or something. On the subject of the Wolf Riders, I think you probably want to try and get the mangy Marauders. The armor-piercing missiles, again, very, very useful in this particular matchup. Night Goblins with Fanatics, actually not too bad. I thought he had the 2 regiments renowned there, but it turns out all just regular Night Goblins with Fanatics. Fanatics can do pretty well against Chaos. It takes some micro, but my opponent was doing a pretty good job overall getting the Fanatics casts off. Unfortunately, it just wasn't quite enough at the end of the day to make the difference in the infantry fight. The Chosen especially were able to still hold out until the late game, so maybe it would have been better to just go with more Skulkers, maybe a Black Orc or 2, and rather than vanguarding out, you want to try and deploy everything unified together. With this particular army, there really wasn't much of a benefit to vanguarding out front like that, unless you want to go with an all-vanguard strategy, which against Chaos is very, very risky. It's probably one of the matchups that I would recommend it the least, just because they have a lot of units that can terrify away the Gobos, and I mean this replay kind of just shows here Chaos Knights with Lances just do so much shock damage that deploying right in the face of Chaos with very light Goblin units across the board, very, very risky. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so every time I upload a new video you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.